Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Blair, or the Illuminati, and today we're going to be talking about something that is most certainly MLM related, but it's not about a specific company. Today we're going to be talking about the general family of Hunbots. I've said for a while now on the channel that Hunbots breed more Hunbots, and it's a pretty common pattern as we've looked at multiple companies. Someone working for Amway might make a different MLM, and often MLM founders have a history of hiring people from other MLMs, so you kind of get the point. It's kind of like the circle of Huns. But anyway, I've been really curious to look into just how messed up this, so-called family tree is and see what we could find in it. Plus, I don't often get to cover small MLM companies, and I thought this would be an interesting way to take a look at a few of those as well. So let's start all the way at the beginning and work our way to present day, watching the MLMs and their Huns evolve over time. Let's get into it. Now, most MLMs are going to be omitted from this list because a large percentage of them are founded by people that were never in direct selling and fail to see how harmful the model actually is. The ones that are on this list, however, are the companies that were founded by people that were in direct selling and for some reason thought it was a great idea to implement the same strategy in their own newer businesses. I find it really interesting to take a look at these too because a lot of them are ones I haven't even really heard of. So one little branch of this family tree is the Watkins MLM. And in terms of these so-called family trees, this is one of the oldest branches. This company was founded in 1868 by Joseph Ray Watkins, who got his start selling liniment door to door. Watkins himself introduced liniment to the company and created the Trial Mark bottle, which is believed to be the country's first ever money-back guarantee. The Trial Mark line can still be found on almost all J.R. Watkins products. Now, back in the 1800s when Watkins was growing, I had no idea how true to the company's word they were going to be about their money-back guarantees. And I've got a feeling if I go online to find reviews, I'm not going to find anything dating back that far for a few obvious reasons. Mainly due to the fact that the checks and balances of being able to leave reviews on companies just wasn't really a thing back then. Now, whether or not they were honest about this, a lot of MLMs use a money-back guarantee as a selling point now, and yes, many other companies just generally do this, but I think it's really interesting that an MLM is actually the one that sort of invented this concept. When you think about it, isn't it obvious that if a product doesn't work, you should have a money-back guarantee for it? If I buy liniment, a rubbing oil or lotion meant to relieve pain, and it doesn't work, then I should be entitled to return it, right? Most stores have a return policy, sure, and there's limits to that. You typically need a receipt, certain timeframes, all of that makes sense to protect the store. So saying, hey, if this product doesn't work for you, you can return it, shouldn't that just be obvious rather than a selling point? Maybe I'm digging just way too into it, but I really do find it interesting that an MLM could actually be one of the main reasons why this thing even exists. Also, sorry for the Casper squeaks. Hi, babe. The Watkins MLM is still around to this day, and they sell everything from spices and cooking supplies to hand lotions, and a lot of their packaging taps into that vintage aesthetic as well, and I've even seen their cooking products in stores before. They are even on the Walmart website too, so it is a little strange for me to see an MLM working in tandem with traditional brick and mortar stores like Walmart, but to also have consultants that you can buy the products through. However, most MLMs I've seen and talked about on this channel offer a 15% discount of sales to their Hunbots, which it sounds like a lot, even though it's really not, and that's what convinces many of them to actually join. Watkins only offers 5 to 10% of sales to their Hunbots, which is pretty pitiful, so it's no wonder that a percentage of their income has to come from sales in actual stores. Moving on to another branch of this tree, we've got the Safeworth Products. Now, this one is a little bit of a weird situation because Mark Safeworth back in the late 70s founded Safeworth Laboratories. He had a product called Thin Now and the Milkshake Diet. One of his top sellers became Mark Hughes, the founder of Herbalife, as you guys probably are aware. But eventually Safeworth Labs went under, and so Mark created a new MLM about travel, Good Life USA. But here's the weird part. How the fuck does he look the same? If you go to the Good Life website and you see the photo of Mark, he looks like he's in his 30s or early 40s. But it was over 40 years ago that Safeworth Laboratories came around, so this was just personally just a little confusing as fuck to me. I found his LinkedIn profile, and yeah, the same Mark Safeworth that inspired Herbalife is behind this Good Life company. I don't really understand how he keeps looking like this. I don't know whose blood he's drinking or whatever weird shenanigans he's doing to achieve this fountain of youth look, but Good for him, I suppose. Oh, wait a second. No, I just found his Facebook page. Never mind. He looks extremely different across many of these platforms, but yeah, anyway, it's the same guy that created Safeworth Labs, that inspired Herbalife, and also made Good Life USA. All MLM shenanigans. One thing I kind of find laughable in this article is how it calls him a courageous leader, but fails to mention a single courageous thing he's actually done in his entire life. In 2009, while Safeworth became sick while laying in bed for several weeks, he did some reflecting on the direct sales industry he loves so much. As he turned over the thoughts in the back of his head, a few questions kept coming to the front of his mind, like, why was the direct industry still using the same old approach and techniques that had been used for years, seeing that they were not effective anymore as it used to be? What possible new way could he get people to enroll in a network marketing business opportunity and minimize rejection? How could he give people an opportunity that will help them in a down economy? Now, there are so many things wrong with this, but let me just try to unpack it one by one. So first of all, to the writer that put this on the internet, the fan that probably wrote this up, these thoughts aren't courageous. When I look at the definition of courageous, I don't see that. Just saying. Like, this is Mark's thoughts wondering on how he can better take advantage of people and trick them into an MLM. The market crashed, by the way, in 2008. For those of you that may not remember, it was an absolute train wreck of a time to be alive. And a year later, this is when Mark is rolling around in bed trying to think of a way to get desperate people signed up for an MLM. So, like, is it really any wonder that Mark Hughes from Herbalife also came across as a super manipulative, unsympathetic person if, like, this is the guy he was learning from? The second issue I have with this is the whole, like, they weren't effective anymore like they used to be part. Like, no, MLMs have never been super effective at making other people successful. We've literally gone all the way back to the early Avon years on this channel and pretty much proven that since their inception, MLMs have had serious issues when it comes to paying their Huns. This so-called opportunity that Mark Safeworth was creating was nothing more than another way to line his own pockets while scamming people. This article says he was trying to help them, but there's really nothing courageous about scamming somebody, like, just putting that out there. So moving on though, Herbalife was founded, and obviously the absolute train wreck that is Herbalife is still around and raking in millions to this day to many, many Huns' detriments. However, the branch doesn't actually just end there. Herbalife has inspired two other health and wellness MLMs, if you want to call them that. One is called Advocare and the other is called OmniLife. Neither of these are nearly as big as Herbalife itself, but Advocare reached a $400 million revenue mark in 2013 around their 20th anniversary. The name, by the way, is short for Advocates Who Care. And as you guys have probably seen on the channel, we've covered the lawsuit where they were sued for being a pyramid scheme and they had to immediately stop their direct sales model because of this. So yeah, how about that for Advocates Who Care? Sure. The funny thing about this, though, is that Charlie Ragus actually founded both companies. After leaving Herbalife, Ragus founded Omni Nutrition in 1989, only for it to be sued by former distributors for being a pyramid scheme. Ragus then bailed on that company and started Advocare in 1993 after the case was settled. Now, OmniLife operates out of Mexico as Omni Nutrition Mexico and no longer appears to have a US branch. So that's kind of an interesting little detail as well. Just thought I'd put that out there. But even with the success of Advocare and, just like OmniLife, they've been deemed to be pyramid schemes as well. I guess Ragus, despite being inspired by Herbalife, didn't study up on how to jump through enough legal loopholes to be okay. Just last year, the FTC announced that case against Advocare that I mentioned earlier, so let's look at it for just a quick moment. According to the FTC, people paid Advocare thousands of dollars to become distributors, buy inventory, and become eligible for cash bonuses and other rewards. But the FTC says Advocare rewarded distributors not for selling product, but for recruiting other distributors to spend large sums of money pursuing the business opportunity. That push to recruit is a classic sign of a pyramid scheme. The complaint alleges that 72% of Advocare's distributors lost money or earned nothing from the company, and 18% earned between a penny and $250 for the entire year. When these distributors' hefty costs are added, nearly all of them lost money. Under a landmark settlement, Advocare and its former chief executive will pay $150 million for consumer refunds. They're also banned from all multi-level marketing. Two of Advocare's top promoters have also said settled with the FTC for $4 million, most of which is suspended based on their inability to pay. They too are banned from multi-level marketing. The FTC's case against 2 other leading Advocare promoters is continuing. The FTC will contact Advocare distributors whose losses may qualify them to get money back. The settlement also requires Advocare to notify its distributors about the case and remind them that Advocare offers a 100% refund for unused products to people who want to leave the business. So Advocare has been sort of scrambling to change their business model, but yeah, I guess Ragis was really inspired by the horrific way Herbalife treats its distributors, but just wasn't sneaky enough about it. Maybe he should have targeted immigrants like Herbalife does instead. You know, the even more vulnerable and desperate group of people to become Huns. Seriously though, like, this pattern is super fucked up. Like, seeing a history of mistreatment is bad enough and really should not be acceptable in the first place, but you know the laws need to change when someone makes a pyramid scheme, is basically shut down for it, and then just goes on and makes yet another pyramid scheme. Speaking of these ever so wonderful diet MLMs, the next branch we have in this tree is the Nutrilite branch, and there's not a ton of information about their early days, but that's only because they were founded in the 1930s and, you know, things are just not as detailed when it comes to MLMs as they are now. Nutrilite, of course, is a part of Amway, but Amway's founders, Jay Van Andel and Richard DeVos, got their start as Nutrilite sellers. Now, here's another common thread I've noticed. Most of the time, as is the case with Van Andel and DeVos, these MLM founders have had success in previous pyramid scheme ventures. That very, very tiny, less than 1% of people, that's these types of people. So these types of individuals get their start swindling others, building these massive downlines and scamming those beneath them, and then go on to do it at an even larger scale. It's not as if you see people that maybe fall somewhere in the middle or lower down the pyramid making these kinds of business models. They wisen up once they realize they're being taken advantage of. Van Andel and DeVos knew, with all certainty, what Nutrilite was really about. They knew that the business was all about recruitment, that downline, and getting naive, ignorant people to sign up beneath them. But they started Amway and absorbed Nutrilite anyway. So let's just call it like it is. These MLMs are about making money for the people at the top and suffocating everyone at the bottom, nothing more. But what's most disturbing is what comes out of Amway. One of their sellers was none other than Keith Rainier himself, the founder of Nexium. And I can't even begin to touch on that topic without demonetization. I have an entire video on it on my channel. It's demonetized to all hell. It is extremely graphic, horrific, and terrifying for anyone who needs to know. Watch that video if you want to know about the details of Nexium, but I am not going into detail about it here because that video messed me up and I literally could not record videos for like 2 weeks because of it. Now, here's the thing though, just about him, that the MLM itself was probably the least of his crimes. Running an MLM is fucked up, and we can agree on that. But some of the other crimes he's committed fall into absolute horror story territory, and it's bad. But it was the MLM side, the front of being a business, that allowed Rainier to even commit these types of crimes. He used the same tactics he learned at Amway as a seller to lure vulnerable women to Nexium. There's even a reason that Rainier chose the MLM business model again and again, even when it failed him. And if you ask me, I think it's because it's the best one if you're in the business of taking advantage of people, not in the business of selling a service or product. Nexium isn't the only MLM to be born out of Amway either. There's another now defunct MLM we've mentioned here on the channel, Vemma, and it was also inspired by Amway. Benson Borrico, its founder, didn't work for Amway, but his parents did. Benson grew up believing that the MLM model was all right, and he clearly admired his parents for being a part of it, especially considering he supposedly had larger-than-life portraits of them in the lobby of the Vemma headquarters. Now, I can't exactly fault Benson for growing up listening to his parents. That's what a kid is supposed to do. You're supposed to treat your parents as an example. But I do fault him for not, at the very least, doing the minimal amount of proper research into the MLM industry model before starting his own company. Now, Vemma, of course, was eventually shut down by the FTC for being a pyramid scheme and told they have to change their business practices to operate. In August 2005, the FTC brought a federal court action against Vemma Nutrition Company, Vemma International Holdings Incorporated, CEO Benson K. Borrico, and top affiliate Tom Alkazin. The company's Young People Revolution campaign targeted college students and other young adults with materials that presented Vemma as a profitable alternative to traditional employment and depicted young affiliates surrounded by conspicuous displays of wealth such as luxury automobiles and yachts. Vemma allegedly failed to disclose that the program's structure ensured that most participants would not earn substantial income and provided affiliates with false and misleading materials for recruiting others. Now, unfortunately, we're still not off the Amway branch yet. Because Amway is such a titan in the MLM world, there's actually 2 more MLMs that were reportedly created by former MLM sellers. One is called Nature's Pearl, and from what I found online, this is yet another supplement company gone wrong. My issues with supplements are just a separate video in of itself, but anyway, in Nature's Pearl, they actually used to sell retail until the company hired a former Amway diamond distributor to try and get more money out of their products. They've since been sold off, but not before the FDA had to warn them about making unproven claims about their products, like, it has been called the new way to prevent cancer. According to some doctors, it is the secret to beating cancer. It can help people with a disease as terrible as cancer. Apparently, these muscadine grapes in their products were marketed as a fucking cancer treatment. Yep, a thick-skinned grape cures cancer. Who knew? Not me, and apparently not the FDA either. But yeah, someone should tell cancer research to try these grapes. I'd love to see what they have to say. But again, they had a former Amway Hunbot helping them turn the company into the MLM, so why am I even surprised that this type of misinformation was happening? And last but not least, there's Market America, which is just a ripoff of Amway if I've ever heard one. James Howard Riddinger and his wife, Lauren, are former Amway distributors and founded that company in 1992. As of 2016, they have over 800 employees and sell everything from cleaning products to supplements, cosmetics, auto care, weight loss, and skincare products, clothes, food, electronics, and beauty products. All of this shit is literally just made by third-party sellers, then they buy it and resell it to their Huns for more money, and then the Huns have to resell it for more money. So by the time it gets to consumers' hands, it's gone through 2 sets of middlemen, and it really does remind me of Amway. Like, they're trying to become an online Walmart, but just an even shittier version and still taking advantage of people. Not to mention, they've also had their fair share of lawsuits. In 1999, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission went after Market America for fraud. They apparently violated federal law by distributing unregistered stock. The SEC website details the entire account, and it's honestly way too convoluted for me to try and summarize, but the point is they lied to investors big time. It looks like they did this as soon as the company was founded and were preparing to commit fraud the moment the company started trading in 1994. It is of course one thing to commit a crime, but another to create an entire company to be a front for while committing more crimes. There's also been a federal racketeering suit from 2017 as well, which just makes me wonder how the hell this company hasn't been shut down quite yet. The May 30 lawsuit brought by California residents accuses the Greensboro, North Carolina company of violating the Racketeering Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act and California state law. It claims the company targets Chinese American immigrants because they don't have regularly available legal channels to vindicate their legal rights. The suit also alleges Market America is counting on its representatives to sell its products to their family and friends in China, the world's most populous country. Yang and Lan, however, both lost money on Market America. They failed because they were doomed from the start by a Market America marketing plan that systematically rewards recruiting distributors over the sale of products, according to the 46-page court filing. Over 90% of Market America distributors average net losses. No persons except individual defendants and secretly placed individuals into the representative tier of the company makes any money. Yang spent $35,000 on products, seminars, and fees when he was a distributor between 2010 and 2016. Lan has been a distributor since December 2015. Both Yang and Lan had difficulty making retail sales, according to the suit. So again, there's really no surprise at all that Amway was the inspiration for this type of company. Their manipulative tactics inspired Keith Rainier, and now their horrible sales tactics and marketing has influenced Market America. I'm kind of scared to see what the hell is going to come out of the brain of those that actually admire either of those types of companies, and I do use that word quite loosely. Now, all that's left are some of the smaller branches coming off of this fucked up MLM family tree that we've still got going on here. This one is about book-based MLMs. And yes, that kind of thing does exist. Selling books door to door is still a thing. Funnily enough, it's actually this method of selling that inspired both Avon and Mary Kay. Call it a coincidence, but I think it's interesting that their founders were actually involved in the same types of pyramid schemes before making their own. For Avon's founder, David H. McConnell, he did this back in the 1800s and added free perfume as a perk to entice customers, and you know how the story goes. They were more interested in the perfume, David started selling that, and there's Avon. As for Mary Kay Ash, she sold books door to door in the early 1900s. Then in 1938, she started working for Stanley Home Products, and who was also training under Stanley Home Products around that time, you might ask? Brownie Wise, the crazy Tupperware lady that threw a party on an island during a thunderstorm. Y'all remember her? I do. Tupperware itself has also inspired smaller MLMs that were founded in 2001, and this one's called Traveling Vineyard. It's basically Tupperware or Pampered Chef, but for wine. The CEO said that much himself. Again, although none of these MLMs are truly harmless, I find it interesting how MLMs with an incredible amount of lawsuits and legal troubles also inspire, well, other MLMs with an incredible amount of lawsuits and legal troubles. Avon and Mary Kay are not identical, but they are similar in nature and tend to have similar issues. I would say it's probably safer to be selling books door to door than starting pyramid schemes for supplements that may or may not be safe for you to actually consume, but hey, that's just me. There have also been times when former Hunbots have left companies entirely only to form near identical clones of their former employers, like Young Living and doTERRA. doTERRA was made by 4 former Young Living salespeople, and even their websites look extremely similar. They're in direct competition with each other now, and Young Living most certainly has the longer and more rattled, terrible history, but let's be real. This is just a bunch of oily Huns saying how their products are better because of some bullshit standard, DMing people with serious illnesses and saying how you should dump a bunch of money and put lavender on yourself because you have depression. I know I'm oversimplifying things a lot here, but my point is not to go into the oily Huns themselves. We're looking at the family trees here, but it is interesting that Young Living and doTERRA Huns are probably some of my least favorite, and they're spun off of each other, so yikes. Another similar spin-off company is World Financial Group, which is so much like Primerica that there's questions online asking what the difference is between them and how they're related. The owner of WFG, which is Hubert Humphrey, used to actually work for Primerica and simply picked up their bad behavior and decided to use it in making his own company. They've also been fined a number of times, 4 to be exact, under their broker-dealer affiliate name, World Group Securities, but yeah, you know, with 238 people that have complained about Primerica mishandling their funds, World Financial Group still has some pretty big shoes to fill before they're as trashy as Primerica. And the last case of an MLM inspiring another is the much smaller one, at least by MLM terms. Liberty League has been called a $5 million scam, and they've been sued. Their top earners left. This strange lifestyle MLM ended before it really even began. People claimed it opened their heart a little wider, how it's life-changing, inspiring, and yeah, to be perfectly honest, I still have no idea what the fuck the company was actually trying to sell me, but I'm definitely not in. Their co-founder, also the founder of an MLM called Advocare, apparently inspired someone though. Jay Kubasek made an MLM called Carbon Copy, which is literally that, it's a fucking carbon copy. Like, if you're gonna rip off someone else's weird fucking company, don't just call it rip off. Like, I just can't with these people. Like, you know, why did you even think that was a clever idea, a good idea, a haha funny idea? Like, could you not even be just a shred of originality, even in your name? Like, really? Oh, and you know how I know it's a ripoff of Liberty League? It's because no one understands this one either. One review says, there is little to no information on the Carbon Copy Pro and Carbon Copy marketing companies. When you go to the websites, they give all the reasons why you should be following Kubasek's plan, but nothing else. As a matter of fact, both sites request that you contact them via email for more information on this most powerful turnkey marketing system on the planet. Sound a bit fishy? As for the rest of this nightmarish family tree, it's a lot less clear-cut. We do have a hired hand at an MLM called Biotica, being a former Arbonne Hunbot. Candice Keefe apparently worked her way up to a senior vice president, and now in Biotica, whatever the fuck it is, serves as the CEO. Also, I love how she says she was voted out of her title and how titles in and of themselves mean little to her. So yeah, I guess if I was voted out of a high-ranking position, that's what I'd have to do to save face too. So we're left with 4 other branches that don't really have a place on this tree. Wendy Lewis and her husband Randy Ray founded Jeunesse. They apparently redefine youth in their beauty products, but I haven't been too careful in defining the words. You are an illegal pyramid scheme, just They were sued a couple years back, and Truth in Advertising says this about them. With claims of backroom deals, money laundering, tax evasion, forced uncompensated work, cancer cures, and violations of foreign laws, the 12-count 45-page complaint reads like a novel. But its main allegation is that defendants, which include founders Randy Ray and Wendy Lewis and top executive Scott Lewis, intentionally and systematically concealed the necessary information regarding defendants' false advertisements, false financial financial disclosures, and false income claims to recruit and keep plaintiffs in a pyramid scheme. The case was voluntarily dismissed, though no one's really sure why. However, Wendy has said she and her husband have had to experience in MLMs, and they've been around the whole back office support for probably around 15 different direct sales companies. There's another smaller MLM called the Numis Network, which is all about gold and silver in the numismatic collectible coin industry. Apparently, one of their founders has had MLM experience since 1994, though because it's a such small company, I've just seen that Chris and other founders have MLM experience, and it's not exactly clear where that experience actually comes from. And because MLMs really have infiltrated every market, there's even one called the Hemp Network, and again, similar story, their MLM founder has experience, doesn't say where. Newsentials, another much smaller MLM, simply states, the president is Phil Mims. Mr. Mims has extensive experience in the network marketing industry with organizations of hundreds of thousands of people. And so there it is, our fucked up little MLM family tree. From liniment being sold door to door in the 1800s to countless shitty supplements, MLMs inspire MLMs. I found it really interesting how similar some of these issues were too, and how twisted and gnarled that Amway branch really is. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video as well. I know I probably missed a few in here, so if you think of some, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. I just went through an entire list of MLMs, clicked on every single one of these hundreds of companies, and searched their founders' histories, so hopefully I did catch most of them. But anyway, thank you guys so much for making it to another video. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And if you guys want more content from me, pop open the description box. You're gonna find links to all the sources I used to create this video and links for all of my other YouTube channels, shops, social medias, blah, 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 all the good stuff's down there. Love you guys. See you in the next video. Bye!